Ahmed was a 24-year-old university student juggling his studies and a part-time job. He was like many young Muslims trying to navigate life in a world where the lines between halal and haram often feel blurred. Ahmed was far from perfect. He prayed, sometimes on time, sometimes not. He fasted during Ramadan but occasionally struggled with his other religious obligations. He tried to stay on the straight path but found it challenging. Loneliness weighed on him heavily. His family loved him, he had friends, but there was a void in his life he couldn't seem to fill. He often felt isolated, as though no one truly understood him. It was in this state of vulnerability that Ahmed's life took a turn. It all started when he met Sarah through a mutual friend. She was intelligent, kind, and had a sharp sense of humor that matched Ahmed's. Initially, their conversations were light and friendly. They talked about university, exchanged funny memes, and shared their dreams for the future. Ahmed felt seen and understood in a way he hadn't in a long time. At first, he didn't think much of their connection. It felt like a harmless friendship. But as days turned into weeks, their conversations became more frequent and personal. They began talking late into the night, sometimes until the early hours of the morning. Ahmed found himself smiling at his phone, rereading her messages, and waiting eagerly for her replies. For Ahmed, Sarah was more than just a friend. She became his confidant, someone he could share his worries and aspirations with. She was supportive, encouraging, and always seemed to know the right thing to say. Slowly, she became a significant part of his life. But with this growing attachment came changes. Ahmed began prioritizing his conversations with Sarah over his other commitments. If he missed a prayer because he was texting her, he told himself it wasn't a big deal. If he stayed up late talking to her and couldn't wake up for Fajr, he promised himself it wouldn't happen again. Deep down, though, he felt a sense of guilt he couldn't shake. As months passed, Ahmed became emotionally dependent on Sarah. His friends began to notice the change. He stopped attending the Islamic study groups he used to enjoy and skipped their usual Friday hangouts. When his friends asked him why, he'd shrug and say he was busy. In truth, Ahmed's world now revolved around Sarah. He tried to justify his actions, telling himself it wasn't a serious relationship. It's just texting, he thought. We're not doing anything wrong. But every time he chose Sarah's messages over reading the Quran or a late-night chat over praying Aisha, he felt the distance between him and Allah grow. One evening, as Ahmed scrolled through social media, he came across an Islamic reminder. Asterisk, when you love something more than Allah, it becomes a test, and that test can lead you astray. Asterisk. The words hit him like a lightning bolt. He couldn't ignore the truth any longer. He began to question his actions. Was this relationship truly bringing him happiness, or was it a distraction from what really mattered? Ahmed's mother noticed the change in him too. One evening, she sat him down. Ahmed, she said gently, you seem distracted lately. Is everything okay? Her words struck a nerve. Distracted was an understatement. Ahmed wasn't just distracted, he was consumed. That night, he lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying his mother's words in his mind. For the first time in months, he allowed himself to feel the full weight of his guilt, the missed prayers, the broken promises to himself, the distance he felt from Allah. In desperation, Ahmed turned to Allah in prayer. During Fajr the next morning, he bowed down in sujud and let his emotions pour out. Ya Allah, he whispered, guide me. Help me to do what is right, even if it's hard. The following day, Ahmed reached out to his local imam. He poured out his heart, confessing everything, his growing attachment to Sarah, his missed prayers, and his struggle to let go. The imam listened patiently and offered him advice. Ahmed, the imam said, Shaytan makes sin look beautiful, especially when you're young and searching for love. But remember, true love begins with loving Allah first. When you love Him, He fills your heart with peace and guides you to what is best for you. The imam also gave him practical steps. Distance yourself from the relationship, fill your time with salah and dhikr, and surround yourself with good company. When you feel weak, the imam added, remember the reward of sacrificing for Allah's sake. Letting go of Sarah was one of the hardest decisions Ahmed had ever made. He wrestled with his emotions daily. There were moments when he wanted to reach out to her, to hear her voice, to return to the comfort of their conversations. But every time he felt weak, he reminded himself of why he was doing this. In the beginning, the emptiness left by Sarah's absence was overwhelming. Ahmed missed the companionship, the shared jokes, and the feeling of being cared for. But he began replacing those feelings with something far more profound, his connection with Allah. He started praying on time and spending extra moments in sujud. He dedicated his mornings to Fajr and stayed on his prayer mat longer to recite Quran. One verse resonated deeply with him. Asterisk, and whoever fears Allah, He will make for him a way out and provide for him from where he does not expect. Asterisk. Slowly but surely, Ahmed began to feel a sense of peace he hadn't experienced in years. He also realized the importance of surrounding himself with positive influences. He joined a youth group at the masjid, where he met brothers who shared his struggles. Together, they supported and encouraged one another to stay consistent in their faith. Months later, Ahmed reflected on his journey. He thought about Sarah and the lessons her presence had taught him. While it had been painful to let go, he was grateful for the wake-up call. He made dua for Sarah, asking Allah to guide her and grant her peace, just as he had found peace in reconnecting with his faith. Ahmed's story is one of struggle, heartbreak, and redemption. It's a reminder that no matter how far you feel from Allah, He is always near. You just have to take that first step back. Every sacrifice made for Allah's sake is rewarded in ways you can't imagine. To anyone struggling with similar challenges, know that you're not alone. It's never too late to realign your heart with what truly matters. Trust in Allah, take the first step, and watch as He fills your life with peace and blessings beyond your imagination.